TYFU.
All right. You ready to start?
I was born ready.
Okay.
Ready is my middle name.
Good. The business.
The business.
The business is acknowledging all the amazing feedback we have had from our listeners over the past couple of episodes.
Yes.
I mean, we are getting stories right and left.
And we're getting big heads.
Because people are writing in.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
I mean, the feedback is not just praise.
Okay. Well, yeah, you're right. You're right.
Mostly
I have to
is
admit
praise.
that. It's mostly
praise.
No. But what's more valuable, I think, than the praise, believe it or not, is the stories that are coming out. I feel like we've had a tidal wave of stories about refunds and stories about shoplifting,
Boundaries being broken.
And you should just, yes.
We've had so much interaction with folks lately, and we've had, a couple of write-ins, but we also, I know, had at least one voice text come our way.
Yes. And if you follow us on social media and the website, you might not see some of these messages because some of them are private and some of them get sent to us just for our eyes only because, you know, some people are comfortable posting them in a comment, but some people are comfortable with a DM. But yeah, we got this voice message and it was so fun to listen to the person telling this story.
Oh my goodness, just love this podcast. Regularly laugh out loud. And this last one got me real good a couple times. No one asked me, but I'm feeling compelled to share a return story. I don't get many of those in ice cream. People just kind of, take their ice cream and go. We had a slamming day, and I might have even been working by myself, line, I'm cranking. And this woman comes up, orders a soft serve, like a small vanilla cone. I turn around to the machine right behind me, make the cone. It takes all of 7 seconds, turn 180 degrees right around, hand it right over to her before she can even blink. She orders, she's got the cone in her hand. She looks at me, she goes, "This isn't what I ordered." I pause. I just completely stop. Music blaring, light out the door. And I haven't ever done this before with this woman because I took her order and I knew it. I go, "Yeah, you did. This is what you ordered." And she swore up and down that it wasn't. So I made a point to walk over to the trash, make sure everyone knew I was throwing this thing out. And then I made her another one and on to the next customer.
If you are someone that has a story, we want to know if you're comfortable with us sharing it.
Yeah.
Because we wish we could have every single one of
we want more voices.
You on this
Yes.
podcast to tell your stories, but it would be chaos for Kelly Walker and we might break him. So too bad. So in order to organize the chaos, we would love it if you send us your stories, send us your voice texts, your voice memos, and let us know if you're comfortable with us sharing them because we would love
or not
to.
because we would never share it without your permission. So
Right.
if you want to just connect with us and share your stories to a private audience, we're down to hear it.
Right.
But if you want to share it with the community, we'd love that too.
Yeah, we're down and we want to include everybody because every one of you has a story and we're loving it. We're loving hearing them.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, what are we going to talk about this week? You want to rip an envelope, Marilla?
Yes.
Did I do it last time? I can never remember.
I think you did, and I've been warming up my ripping muscles all day.
Okay.
So here we go.
Make it good.
Always. Always.
Okay.
All right. Our topic today is many hats.
Many hats. What do you mean by that, lady?
Jack of all trades, perhaps.
Master of all.
Master of all. Isn't there something about being a master of none in
I know,
that?
but I'm not going that route. I've decided.
We've
I'm the
decided.
boss. This is why it's good to be the
Must
boss.
be nice.
I'm hearkening back to our episode on must be nice to be the boss.
So many hats, many hats that we wear as
Small business
small
owners.
business owners or operators.
Yeah, because you think you're getting into one thing when you open
Yes.
your business, but what you're getting into is basically 40 different job titles as
Yes.
a small business owner.
Yes. You usually enter into your business because you have a singular passion. Mm-hmm. And then here we are, also the janitor.
Janitor, yeah, that is one of the job titles.
I'm also scrubbing the toilet,
Yeah.
which I love and do
Yeah.
not resent at all.
No, it keeps us humble.
Yes.
Or keeps us proud, right?
Or
Because
keeps
that's-
us embarrassed.
That is good, honest work, scrubbing toilets. Not everybody can do it.
That's true. That's
Yeah.
true.
That job has real value.
There's a lot of layers.
Often underappreciated.
Fun fact, I was a janitor for 10 years of my life.
Right, you had a family janitorial business.
Yes,
is that
my
right?
parents put me to work at 8 years old, basically, because I, like a fool, thought that it was so cool to wear the hat of janitor at 8 years old. And gosh, my dad was smart.
I remember my kid was very interested. Like at a certain point in her life, we handed her a snow shovel, and she said, "Oh, I've always wanted to shovel snow." I'm like, well, it is your lucky day.
Making
Great.
dreams come
Well,
true,
yeah,
Mom.
You're welcome.
Gosh, you're such a good parent.
But janitorial, as you mentioned, is one of the jobs we sign up for when we become small business owners, and
Yes.
there are so many more. I made a huge list. But it's going to be fast. I always like when I announce to the listener, I have a huge list. I never want them to worry.
Beth has
that
started
it's going to be a
making
3-hour
lists.
episode.
Beth has started making
It's
lists.
mostly to intimidate you.
Yeah, it's working.
This is my list.
You know,
Scary?
whatever. I just am so proud of you for your list
You're
making
better off
skills.
the cuff. Is that how it goes? I'm older than you. I'm afraid I'm going to forget things.
That's true. I have my youth. Yeah. So when you get into it, when I began my business, I was interested in selling plastic-free products and shopkeeping, being a shopkeeper.
And you do that.
I do. I wear cute outfits. I sell beans, soap,
You
toilet
interact
paper.
with your customer.
I chit-chat. I gossip a little bit, harmlessly, most of the time.
So one of your jobs is actually sales assistant, right?
Sales
or sales
assistant.
manager, even like sales manager.
Well, I'm both of those things.
Yeah.
I'm the sales associate and I am the sales manager. But lately, my role has changed, through the years. And lately, right now, with 2 locations and very capable managers in both places, I am the owner, but I am also the part-time help in both of those locations.
Interesting, fascinating.
Yeah. I'm like each person's part-time girl. So yeah, I mean, and I went from being all by myself in my store all the time, like truly king of the hill, to then sharing it with employees. And now, my employees know more about their own domain than even I do sometimes, which is horrifying to say out loud. But it's a part of growth.
Why? Let's talk about it. Why is it
thanks.
horrifying? Because do you feel out of control a little bit? Do you feel like...
I feel it's not so much, yes, I mean, I feel out of control, but that is not a new feeling for me. I don't know if this is something that people can relate to, but ever since I opened, there have been days and seasons where I felt out of control at one point or another. But I think for me, it's almost like this feeling of not shame, but like maybe embarrassment, or maybe like I'm not paying enough attention, or like, because I'm not there all day, every single day, and I don't know where all the yellow pencils are at any given moment. Like maybe I'm not doing enough. But I can't clone myself and be in both places all the time. So it's been a lesson in letting go and becoming a part-time employee
Yeah.
But that's not all I do. I'm also, the website manager. I have to be the part-time employees in both
So that
places.
you can do the other
So
things.
that I can be the website manager and the email marketer. And
I had
am
a
I
hair
checking off
appointment.
anything on your list?
I'm just going to circle back, though, because I had a hair appointment, and I was gone Friday afternoon from my store.
How dare you?
I know.
But
I
that's
know.
exactly,
I was
that's
like-
it. What is that feeling, Beth?
Like, I had two very capable employees on the sales floor. They handled everything just fine, but I still have this sort of
Is it guilt?
panic. I don't know. We could break this down. I think this is
This is
its
a
own
whole
episode.
nother episode.
Yeah.
We got to walk it back.
Yeah. Okay. Now you asked me, have you checked off anything on my list? I
Yeah,
did have web designer on my list.
Okay.
Yeah. And inventory manager. That's sort of like,
Yeah.
in a way, the same things. Let me cross that off.
Inventory
Inventory management.
specialist.
Yeah. I had sales assistant and sales manager on my list.
Because they are kind of different.
They are kind of
I've got
different.
one.
Okay. Yeah.
Bookkeeper.
Yep.
It is a luxury, let me tell you, to have a bookkeeper. And when you start your business, you're like, oh, well, we can do that ourselves for a little while. And oh
it's
my
such a
God,
pain in the
it's
butt.
a pain in the butt. And
Yep.
it's nerve wracking, and it's so much time, and it's so
Right, and
important.
It's hardly ever perfectly clean.
No.
Where,
it's such a mess.
What is this? Where's this? Where did this 20 cents go?
Oh my God.
Like, hopefully it's only 20 cents.
Yeah, it's only ever 20 cents. But bookkeeping, I think, is something that, okay, there are some people, there's probably some accountants that are listening to this that are like, I love bookkeeping.
And they run their own business, right?
They
And they're
run their
also
own
cleaning
business.
their own toilets.
Right.
Yep.
But I think for many business owners, bookkeeping is a challenge, and
Yeah.
it's a hat we have to wear or we go to jail.
Right. I think a lot of small business owners do it because they're creatives. They're not necessarily numbers people. And here we are doing the bookkeeping and the accounting, which I have in
us
two
all.
different categories, but I guess they're pretty closely related.
I just
shouldn't
blacked out.
listed
You have
them as two.
bookkeeping and accounting?
accountant. Well, I have accountant / bookkeeper. I'm the person who's dealing with I'm writing checks.
Right.
I'm writing checks.
Right.
My husband deals directly with the accountant, but
Bless them.
yeah.
A blessing
Yeah.
on their heads. Mine does too.
Yeah.
That was a very strategic move on you and I's part.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's some business advice.
Yeah,
If you're
get
keeping
married.
track of, if you're keeping track of the business advice on this podcast, find you a partner that loves to do math.
Yeah.
And
you don't have to marry them.
Marry
You can
'em
just
up.
Have a business partner.
just get jiggy with it. Seduce them. That's the advice.
How do you like to get paid?
That's right. Exactly. Exactly. You could work something out. And you can. I'm here to tell you.
Oh, Marilla. That'll be another episode too. The
Yes,
spouses
yes.
or the romantic partners with whom you're in business.
Yes. Yes.
In business.
So the bookkeeping is a huge one that no matter what kind of business you're in, it comes knocking on your door. And
Yeah, somebody's got to do it. Somebody's
You
gotta
find
do
a
it.
man.
Or you could pay somebody. I mean, I know that there are some business owners who pay for these services.
Actually
like,
budget for that.
honestly,
Yeah,
like,
true.
with real money.
Not with their body. Yes. And I think maybe that's the other half of that business advice is it's worth budgeting if you can for some bookkeeping so that you don't have to wear that hat. But if you can't do that yet at this point in your business, we see you. We see you. And it's brutal. It's brutal.
Yeah.
I think for me, a hat that I wear very firmly on my head that now is like a reality for almost every business is a social media manager. Like,
I'll cross that off my list here.
see, this is a good formula. You make a list and I play bingo with it.
I know we've done that a couple of times.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So the social media manager is has become such a huge part of small businesses.
And it takes a lot of time.
Oh my God, so much time. How much time do you think?
Well, I mean, I don't spend nearly as much time with it as I quote unquote should. but I'm going to say hours per week. Yeah.
You want to put a number on it?
You track it, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
You track it. Tell me.
Painful.
Do you want to share it?
Yeah, I do.
Right.
But
just to
none
shame
of
me
you
for not
better.
doing it.
No. I'm telling our listeners right now. Nobody judge me here.
Yeah.
Okay. My screen time runs because most of it has to be done through your phone.
Yeah.
I'm looking at like 7 hours a day.
Oh
some
my
weeks.
good God, Marilla.
I said, don't judge me.
I'm not. I'm
no, it's
pitying
brutal.
you.
It's brutal because it's not like I'm constantly, and it's not every day. But when you average it out and you're answering messages and you're creating content and some stuff takes longer than others and you're answering emails and you're filming those reels and
now you got it for TYFU too. Because you do it there
and
as well.
That's probably
it adds
that's
to
everything.
Your, yeah.
That's everything. I'm not saying that one business is that much. So, for somebody who hates doing the social media, don't worry. You don't have to spend that much time on social media. But, I manage a couple different things via social media. And I mean, how many hours is that a week? I'm not doing the math. I didn't come here to do math. But that's
why we have an
that's
accountant.
a huge... That is a healthy amount of hours. That's a job right there.
Well, I'm nowhere near that. But this is another thing. I don't track it though either. I don't track it. So
well, turn your screen time tracking on. It'll make an honest woman out of you.
Yeah, maybe I don't want to know.
You don't want to know.
But this is another thing that if you're a little bit more established, maybe you could hire out. Maybe you could hire a staff member to do it, honestly, if you don't hire an outside agency to do it.
Right.
But I also think it's very important that you and me, as the faces of our business, are the people who are, communicating directly with the customers.
Yeah, I think maybe you're uncovering we've now done this twice or 3 times now already in this episode. We've named 3 or 4 or 5 different hats.
They all deserve their own episode.
That really all deserve their own episode. But you could hire out for all of these. But have we? No, we're just wearing these hats. And I think for many of us, it's when we make it, we'll hire,
What does that even mean?
I don't even know, but it's this thing that you say, oh yeah, when we have enough, we'll hire this amazing accountant. When we have enough, we'll hire this incredible marketing agency. When we have enough, we'll do this. But until then, I'm just going to do all. When we have enough, we'll hire a janitor. But until then, I'm scrubbing the toilet.
Well, this whole thing has gotten so scary to me because when I'm thinking about I'll hire an accountant, I'll hire a social media person, I'll hire a janitor, I'll hire more part-time staff so that I can have a hair appointment. That makes me feel nervous. I guess it's kind of makes me strangely feel more comfortable when I have my hands in everything. And that is not at all the direction I expected this conversation to go. I expected to be just talking about the complete overwhelm, but not necessarily how being
it's almost
so
self-soothing.
in touch with all this is actually something that might be important to my mental health.
So we're just identifying a complex here.
Yeah.
And once again, pointing out that maybe we should budget in a therapist at some point.
Well, you know what? This is interesting because I was at work today and I asked one of my employees, shout out to Maggie, what hats am I wearing around here that I might not be aware of? And she said, therapist. Because oftentimes, I'm older than she is. She comes to me with questions. She shares her feelings about things.
Yeah.
And I'm sort of counseling her through
a little
that.
bit.
Right. But also we've talked about in the boundaries episode how customers often require that of you too.
I had therapy on my mental list, or therapist on my mental list, because of how often we are standing there and asked for answers and advice and counseling for things that we don't even know this person's name.
Yeah, I know.
So that is a hat that is worn, but the therapist needs a therapist because we are control
No, I'm
freaks.
fine. I'm fine.
It's fine. Everything's fine. It's so easy to become a control freak. Or maybe is it the chicken or the egg? Is it the,
yeah, and I don't know if I
do
agree
control
with
freaks
your...
become business owners, or do small businesses create control freaks?
Is freak the right term? I don't think
Kelly's
that's
gonna
what
have
a
to bleep it
therapist
out.
would call us.
Listen, I'm not qualified to be a therapist. Control inclined. For the control inclined individuals, I don't know. I don't think of myself as a control inclined individual. But I completely resonate with what you just said about feeling better when you're taking out the recycling and you're ringing up the customer
Yes.
and you're ordering the inventory and you're unpacking the order that just came in and you're answering the email from a customer.
Yes,
Like,
it doesn't make me feel warm and fuzzy to think about giving those things up.
Yeah.
Even though I think probably some of them should be relinquished to other people.
and isn't it nice in a weird way when your employee takes on a hat and does it just so well? Like, I have two managers, Haley and Amanda,
Yeah.
who are just being so gentle with me as I'm learning to be,
Yes.
stepping back a little bit and learning to be the part-time and doing other things and learning my other roles. And it's nerve-wracking for me at times, and they know that, but it's so amazing when they step in and they handle something better than I could have even. Mm-hmm. And I think that's humbling. And it's somehow, I don't know, there's a lot of feelings with that, but it's to pass the hat is an interesting.
I mean, one of your jobs, I came back from my hair appointment and
The whole place was on fire.
The whole place. No. I mean, I don't know, would it have made me feel better if it was? Because then I would have felt more needed.
I knew it.
But the Chelsea and Maggie were there on Friday afternoon. I came back. The place looked gorgeous. They had redone the frame wall. They had made a new display on the sales floor, and they had handled everything with the customers, and everything was fine. Everything was fine.
Everything was fine. In fact, perhaps speaking of cleaning, same thing. Haley whipped the shop into shape in Geneva this past week. Cleaner than I would have done it.
Yeah.
I would have been like, it's fine.
Well, this is the thing. HR manager, human resources. I mean, I guess that's part of what our jobs entail. Like, we're doing the payroll, we're scheduling different employees in different spaces at different times. And then also we're sort of supervising their work performances.
True.
I mean, that's part of the job. And I guess, if all things are running smoothly, it is, in a way, the employees deserve 99% of the credit for that, but also you deserve some credit and acknowledgement for hiring the right people and training them well.
Right. And speaking to the HR thing, if there's ever, not that there's ever trouble in paradise, but if there ever is any kind of, disagreements between staff or
issues.
even customers, you've got to be the one to step in and be professional and sort that out and address it head on. And that's another hat.
Yeah.
Look at that.
Well, let me cross that off the list.
How many are we counting these?
I didn't count them.
All right, we're going to have to tally them at the end.
Oh, wait,
here.
I forgot to cross off janitor. Oh, here's one. We covered this on the shoplifting episode, bouncer/security guard.
Oh, of course.
Yeah. If a customer needs to be broken up with, you're the bouncer.
Yep.
If a customer is stealing things, you're the security guard.
The buck stops with me.
Yeah.
The buck stops here.
Do you think those could be two different things? Yeah, I think they're two different.
Yeah, I think they are. Recently, there was I can't bring back the specifics, but there was a customer in the store, and I was feeling like perhaps an employee was uncomfortable.
Yes.
And I was watching the situation, and it wasn't like anything necessarily bad was happening, but I was just taking the temperature of it and talking about security guard, bouncer.
Yeah.
I was doing that dance of like, okay, is this where I have to, muscle this person out of the store? So yeah, that's no joke. And then you're sweaty, and then you got to go to a meeting, and
Right.
you got to be like, sorry, I was just the security officer.
Right.
So that's why I'm so sweaty.
Right. But then you do have to pivot from that to something completely different.
Marketing.
Such as, marketing. I have down here, but you're like, got to go to a meeting. I put down community engagement because I don't know what the title of that is. But you're the one who's handling it if you have to talk to city council, or you're the one who's handling it if you have to give a presentation for a civic group, which I know you've done. I've done.
Yeah. I would say maybe the PR, public relations.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, you've got to, it's your job to go to the press conference and represent the brand and the business.
When there's breaking news.
When there's breaking news, you got to answer for that podcast statement that you made.
I know. Well, podcaster is on the list of, not everybody wears that hat, but more and more of us do.
But most people over 30. I believe it's you have to.
Actually, most people do have podcasts now. It's not just us.
You're contractually obligated to start one.
At least try it.
Yeah, or at least just take a crack at it. And it's funny because through the last 5 years of having my business, centered around sustainability, I've had a lot of people that are like, you should have a podcast about sustainability and climate conversations, and maybe someday I will. But I always said to those people, no, I don't have the time for it. Yeah, laugh.
I got this other podcast.
Laugh, Beth. And now here we are.
Yeah.
With another hat. But yes, it's. I think that might it might intermingle with the PR part of it, and might we just say that these are all. I think these are all pretty run of the mill, not just retail.
Oh, right.
Things that you've put on your list. Great job. Great job.
Yeah.
I am way more comfortable with the social media than I am redesigning my website.
Sure. You're not good at all of them.
Right. I'm way more comfortable doing a talk about what we do in front of a bunch of people than I am doing the accounting and the sales tax.
Right.
But I still have to do all those things. Right. And that, I think, is where it gets really gnarly.
Yeah, dicey. Yeah, crazy.
Because you don't have a choice unless you have the resources to hire all of these things out, which would put me out of business.
You know what I'm not is a construction project manager. But I was last week. Because we did some renovating.
A hard hat.
At the store.
You were wearing a hard hat.
I was getting the building code permits, and I was talking to the contractors, and
Right.
I felt completely out of my element. But
yes.
I'm not going to hire a construction project manager for this one thing I had going on. I mean, that's not in the staff budget.
No, so you just got to buck up, put on something that makes you feel confident and strong, and walk into City Hall and be like, I've got a project.
My drawings. Here's my architectural rendering.
Yeah. What am I going to need to make this happen?
Yeah.
And you got to act like you know what you're doing, even though it's absurd.
I know, but that's the nature of the beast. I mean, you have to do it.
Yeah.
You have to do it if you want certain things done.
Yeah. Even though to the fly on the wall, it is absurd that you are doing it. It is absurd that.
Well, this is why business owners should be on more boards. And I think why community boards ask business business owners to be on their boards, because it's we have broad-reaching experience that we
Right.
don't even know we're accumulating in the day-to-day. We're just doing our
That's true.
work, like if this has been interesting for me to make this list and think about, holy cow, I might be talented in some areas.
Right. And I
And I didn't even know it.
Right. And I fell in, it's kind of interesting that you say it that way, because when I started my business, I was so young. I still am young.
Yeah.
We've established I have my
Fresh
youth.
and vibrant.
Yes. But there was part of me, I think subconsciously, that was thinking, well, I could do that someday, but I don't really know how. I don't know how to go about it. But then I realized that I accidentally did know how, because I had worked for so many years in a small business wearing many hats. When I actually started to take one step forward towards my own business, I was like, oh, wait, I do know who to talk to about
Yeah,
this.
sure.
Oh, wait, I do know what the health inspector wants me to do. Oh, wait, I do know that. Like,
I
accidentally,
do have experience in this area.
I had collected all this experience that I didn't even realize, and it has continued to snowball like that through the last 5 years. And I don't know if you feel this way, Beth, but recently I had a publication asking me what I would say to women who are inspired by my story, which sounds like I'm just tooting my own horn, but toot.
Well, here we are.
And it felt weird because I was like, I don't know what I'm doing.
I know.
I don't know what I'm doing, but
So,
I have
yeah.
all these hats that I've been wearing for years. And actually, when I think about it, I guess I've just been doing it. And I do know some of this stuff.
Here's another thing. We're not writing resumes. I plan to die in my store. And and I
All right.
think you plan to die in one of your many stores. And
Yes.
like we're not
Or-
necessarily writing resumes for ourselves. So we don't think about what skills we're accumulating, what experience we're accumulating.
Yeah, and it's weird. This episode is weird and I wonder, if you're listening at home, let us know if anything's popping into your head, a hat that you haven't thought about before, a hat that you like all of a sudden go, oh my God, yeah, I do that actually. Mm-hmm.
It's profound. It's been a profound experience just writing this list and talking with you today. I'm going to list a few more.
As always, people say that all the time about talking with me. A profound experience.
Right.
Just,
But it sounds like this episode's making me feel a little like just weird about like what you do learn over the course of time that you're not even aware of about yourself.
like,
And
we know everything.
yeah,
and
I
there's
didn't know
nothing
that we knew
can't
everything.
do. Yeah.
I didn't have. I'm uncomfortable with the accounting, but that's it. Otherwise, I'm.
Oh. No, I'm uncomfortable with reaching down into the sump pump and unplugging.
I know.
But plumber.
I know. I have electrician here. I have roofer here. Plumber is definitely one that.
handyman, basically,
Handyman.
which is different from the janitor.
Yeah.
Handyman, you got to call and get your appliances serviced. You got to call, and it's just a never-ending list. But that's a hat, a cute little contractor hat, maybe.
And coveralls.
I'm sensing some Instagram content brewing.
All right. What do you think about IT? You ever do your own IT?
Oh, I give up. No. Nope. I wish I could say that
So that's the one thing you hire out?
I will turn off the Wi-Fi router and turn it back on.
Yes, I've learned how to do that with my receipt printer.
But I have surprised myself sometimes. So I guess, yes, in some senses, because that I'm such a chicken with tech. I am such a chicken, and I am so apt to jinx tech. Like, I will walk in and somebody's computer across the room will stop working. Kelly Walker was a victim of this recently. Some computer stopped working. Kelly, I'm admitting it right here, right
was
now.
Marilla's
It was
fault.
me. It was in the same room with me. So when things tend to go wrong, I'll press a button and then it blows up. It gets worse.
I know.
Sometimes I don't have a choice and I just have to fix something or come up with a solution.
Or call somebody. Whoever is in charge of your
and those moments,
point of sale system or whatever.
Those moments when I am forced kicking and screaming to put that hat on and actually something good comes of it, I'm the most proud of myself.
I suppose that is a good point. When we feel completely out of our depths and
Fish out of water,
completely without knowledge in a certain area, and we figure it out.
You rally.
Yeah, and it does, I suppose, inspire more confidence or make you more
trauma.
fearful that it's like what's going to break next.
Yeah.
You know? Mm-hmm.
But there is a silver lining to at least putting it on for a second and seeing what you can do, because I have surprised myself through the years with what hats I can wear. Not long term, just like maybe in emergency situations. Don't call me to fix your computer problems.
Another one that Maggie suggested to me today was actor. Think about that.
An actor, a thespian. Yes, I would say so. I mean, I kind of think of that a little bit in like interlacing with customer service and sales, because sometimes you click with a customer and sometimes you don't, but you don't really have a choice. You're not always able to just be like, I actually just don't like you. Could you leave? So you have to just.
You don't say that at your shop.
Only on Tuesdays.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think there's a level of acting, but from a quite literal perspective, I made a commercial last year. And
did you play yourself?
Only my hands were in it.
Oh, you're one of those hand models.
Yeah, I was a hand model. But to talk about acting, like Haley was in it.
Yeah.
Haley, our Geneva manager, was in it. She had to act.
I think some of your customers were in it. Your
some
mom was in it.
Your sister my mom was
in it.
not in it. My sister was in it. She's not wearing any clothes.
Yeah, your sister was in
Just keeping.
Were there any nudes involved, harkening back to episode 5?
Just saying, we can't run the commercial on certain TV networks. But that experience was very funny, and I was very proud of myself and lots of other people involved with that, because we had the guy who was filming, very talented, Tim Pfeffer, Finger Lakes Films.
Yeah.
Go look at his stuff. He was coming in and he was filming it, but I was the prop manager. I was the talent scout. I was the scheduler for the whole day. And it was so funny to me because I had no idea what I was doing, but we had 19 different shoots. I had 19 different paper bags with the props in them.
Costume design.
I had call times for all the actors. I was like, all right, we're on set at 7 a.m. Mom, go get the coffee. We had a babysitter on set. There was a baby involved. And we were there from like 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. and we got it all done pretty quick, considering all that we had to do. I had to find a place to film, like a location.
Set director. I don't know what that's called.
I don't even know.
I don't know.
Kelly's going to have to Kelly, can you drop in all the technical terms for all these? Just
Production assistant.
Production assistant. Beth.
Thank you.
Amazing. Production assistant. Yeah. And so that was a lot of fun. And I got the opportunity, because of my small business, to put on a hat that was really exciting. It was stressful, but it was exciting and it was fun, and it's a fond memory. So sometimes our businesses
bring us into different circumstances that are great and
and really, really enriching experiences and really fun and proves that you can do something you didn't think you could.
Also on my list, I have gardener.
Oh my God.
For the landscaping outside the shops. Yeah. I have travel agent on my list. Because
Lay it out for me.
oh my goodness, during tourist season, I
Oh my
cannot tell
God.
you how many times a day someone asks me where they should have lunch, where
Yes.
they should have dinner, what are the important sites to see while they're in the region,
Yes.
what would I do on a Tuesday afternoon in the rain,
Yeah.
what would I do on a Friday after, should they go to Niagara Falls? Is there anything interesting in Rochester? Like, it drives me
Where do you like to
bonkers.
go?
Yes. Oh, like,
Yeah.
you're the local, you've got
Yeah,
the
you're the
inside
local. You got the inside scoop.
Yeah.
And, we don't fault anyone for asking these
Of
questions.
course not,
We
but-
ask these questions too when we travel.
Oh, I
But-
drove myself crazy the last time I was on vacation, just asking these shopkeepers these
Yeah,
questions,
so-
or being like, "I'm visiting from out of town."
Right. So if you're listening and you're like, oh my God, I have asked Beth or Marilla those questions, we're not.
I'm enraged. Marilla's fine with it because I was also enraged at myself when I did it.
No, we all do it, but it is it's a whole bank of knowledge that has nothing to do with our business when you ask a shopkeeper. So can you give me a list of all the other businesses in the area that are open today and what their hours are? I got to get on Google, and I do, like a fool.
Let me Google that for you.
Let me Google it. Why? Yeah, travel agent. Oh my God. And I get weird about it too.
In what way?
I get so invested in their trip. I know it makes you crazy, Beth, but I get so invested. I'm like, oh my God, if you do anything, you have to do this and this. Anybody who's anybody does this. Yeah. And then I wish they'd call me and tell me what they think.
Oh my gosh, no.
Yeah, travel agent for sure.
Yeah.
And you know what's funny is usually I'm telling people to go and do something that I have not made time myself to go and
wow.
do. Yeah, like I was just telling your employee today to go to a museum
That you've never been
that
to.
I've never been to. But I was like, oh, you guys have to. You have to do it.
I hear it's great.
Yeah, I hear great things from my customers that I've told to go there. Yeah, travel agency. Oh my God.
Grant writer.
Oof. That's a big one. That is a big one. And it is that's giving me a trauma response because I'm supposed to be writing a grant right now.
You've probably written a few grant applications in your life.
Just a few. And
I know
there's
I
a
have.
whole skill to that,
Yep.
a skill set, because it's a whole job that
Yeah.
people hire people full time for.
Takes a lot of I don't know, like research sometime about your own business, your own industry.
Doesn't that grind
own-
your gears?
Kind of. It's like because you feel like you know it.
Yes.
You know your market.
And then there's
you
a
know your
grant
product.
question that you're like, oh, maybe I don't know how to answer that. But yeah, I was just speaking about this with another business owner, and they did the grant writing. They applied for the grant. They got the grant, but then it doesn't end there. We've both received grants.
Yeah.
You have to stay on top of it and manage those grants, or else sometimes you don't even get it.
Or
you
it
don't
can
even
be
get the
rescinded.
money, or it
Yeah.
can be rescinded. You got to keep track of all of that.
Yeah, when you apply for a grant and you receive the grant, you're not just like, woohoo, party time. You know, you have to spend it responsibly.
Bring you a wheelbarrow of cash, like they should.
No, but you got to show that you're spending the money in exactly the way that you said that you would spend it, whether it be to hire more employees or whether it's to expand the business in one way or the other, or do property renovations for the beautification of your city, whatever it is.
And I know some. I'm just gonna cut you right off, Beth.
go
Is that
ahead.
okay?
No, I'm
Thanks.
just here to support you.
Thanks for understanding. I know some business owners that won't even apply for a grant.
Oh, yeah.
Because of that. Because of the
Yeah.
amount of time, because of the additional job, because of the hat.
Yes.
It's not worth it.
Yes, I have been
And-
in that position myself.
Right.
You probably have too.
I have so much respect for the business owners who just say, no, I don't want to get into that because it's so complicated and it's so time expensive.
Tedious.
And you got to keep track of everything.
Yep.
I mean, my own mother has been in that boat before. I've been in that boat before. Like, it's so much work, and it sounds silly when it's like $50,000 on the line.
Yeah,
but
who wouldn't want, like, so what? You got to, take a course. So what? You got to fill out 5 pages of questions. Like,
yeah.
But it's so much more than that. And unless you've been through the process, it might seem like we're being really ungrateful for free money, but it's not really free money.
Yeah, and I think
you do work for it.
Yes, you work for it, and I think there's a season for all things. Like, I have been in seasons where I had the bandwidth for that.
Yep.
And I have been in seasons where I have not. And so, sometimes you are able to tackle it and sometimes you're not. And that's okay.
Honestly, I'm glad
you.
it's arduous, especially with state money or
Me
municipal
too.
money. I don't want that money just kind of handed out
In
willy-nilly
wheelbarrows.
without somebody proving that they know how to use it responsibly. So I think it's good.
I agree. But I also think it's completely within your right as a business owner to be like, that's ridiculous for me at this time.
Yes.
To take on.
Yes. All
So
right.
grant writer. This feels like a speed round. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like a game show.
Well, I'm going to give you another one. Or do you want to guess at one? Are you looking at my notes? Or are you
I'm not
looking over
looking.
here?
I'm not looking. I'm
All
not
right.
looking.
Interior decorator / designer.
Yep.
Which
Yep.
I think is closely related to another one on my list, which is merchandising. Right. So you're thinking about how your shop looks. I mean, brand manager is a thing, and brand manager might design how the shop looks, what
Like
the layout
merchandising.
is, but then, the product, how to arrange the product,
Yes, your windows.
your windows.
Not that I'm jealous of you, Beth, for having such an expert employee that does your windows now and makes them look so beautiful.
After 12 years of doing my own
Whatever,
windows,
Beth.
I think it's time that I can hire an accountant or a window designer. So
Whatever. No, I think it's high time because it is a time-consuming job.
oh my Lord.
And it feels it's a fine line between feeling like it's worth it
Yeah.
or I just spent 8 hours or sometimes a whole week
Yeah.
doing something
For
that I'm just
holiday
going to
windows,
tear
which is
down.
crazy. Yeah. And they always have to be torn down or they're failing.
Or they're failing. And it's like, how do you measure the revenue that you get from your windows? I don't know how that is done.
Right.
Apparently it's worth something because Macy's and,
Yeah.
New York
brands
City
do it. Yeah.
do it. Dior. Spend a
they're
little
any
money
example.
on that. But yes, it's something that is very important. And sometimes you're very good at that, like Beth, and sometimes you just put plants in the window, like me.
Do you not like doing your windows?
I do and I don't. I do if I feel like I have the luxury of the time to do it, but I don't if it makes me feel like I'm shirking more important things.
Uh-huh.
And then I get tied up in, is it more important? I mean, it's the face of my business. It's the thing that people see first. I don't know. I have enjoyed it more this year, but for the first 4 years of my doing business, I really didn't spend that much time making my windows look that pretty because I didn't feel like I could afford it, and I didn't
Afford the time.
Yeah.
This leads me back to a question I wanted to ask, which is, what are your favorite parts? Because window design is actually one of my favorite parts. It's something that I look forward to, even though it's kind of exhausting. You're up and down on a ladder all the time. You're going up, in back room, downstairs.
Yeah.
Like you're
finding the stuff you're putting in the window because it's not always your own product.
Yeah. You're thinking of a theme, But I enjoy that part of it. I love the merchandising part, the arranging of the store and the presentation of how the store looks.
Yeah, and you're killer at it.
Well, maybe if I am, it's because I love it so much. Like
Right.
I really would just do that with all my time. I'd rearrange the whole store once a week if I had the time. It's something that it makes me feel excited and makes me love the job. Do you have anything like that?
Yeah, I think the inventory management is really exciting for me. Like finding the product
Yes.
discovery, sourcing is really exciting for me, and I get so hyped about finding something new and then sharing it with the customers that I care about. And I also do love the marketing and the social media.
I was going to say that.
I
Like
love
you
the
spend a
social
lot
media.
of time on
Yeah.
it, but you're really good at it, and you wouldn't be really good at it if you didn't have like a natural affinity towards it.
Yeah, and my business gave me the opportunity to discover that I had an affinity for that, and gave me the opportunity to discover that I really liked marketing and I liked figuring that out. So I would say that's a big part of it. And I like the interior decorating too, which I think is different than the windows.
Sure.
I don't like how impermanent windows are always.
Yes.
Because I feel like I pour so much into it, and then it's like, okay, well, if I leave it up for 4 months, it's kind of stale.
Yeah.
But I do like being very intentional about the way my store looks and presents and feels inside. And I think you inspire me in that.
Oh, well, thank you.
That
And you inspire me in
department.
the social media. I'm not necessarily good at it, but I do want to be better when you see
don't know,
people
Beth.
who are really good at something. It's inspiring. It makes you want to do better at it. So
You look great in that hat.
yeah. So I guess at the end of the day, now I've got a couple things on my list that I didn't mention, like my job. The reason I run my store is because I love used and rare books, and I am an expert.
Oh, yeah. You mean your passion?
On used and rare books. That is how the store came into existence.
The passion that birthed all these hats?
Actually what I do. That's where it all started.
That's where it all started.
And sometimes it feels so like not secondary or tertiary. What's the word? Tertiary?
Tertiary? Oh my God. That homeschooling just came in so
my
clutch.
gosh, yes.
The
Public school really failed
vocabulary.
me.
Yes. Thanks, Mom.
Well, in any case, what was I saying? Oh, yeah, like the used and rare books, which I have such an extensive vocabulary thanks to my background in used and rare books.
Okay.
But it's like
Sure you do.
sometimes it just falls to the very bottom of the list, as it has in this case,
Yes. What an interesting discovery. We just spent how much time?
A lot of time, too much time, probably talking about
Probably too much that we will edit
everything
down.
else.
No. Talking about everything but what our businesses actually are. And the passion that actually ignited and motivated us to take on all this extra work. That's something.
That's something that we're going to need a therapist for, apparently.
Nah, we have this episode. We're good.
Yeah, but I think what I've discovered too, and while talking this through, is, man, I'd feel really kind of uncomfortable as I continue to let go of bits and pieces of the business, which is sort of the goal, I think.
Right.
Maybe. But
Right.
maybe what is making it? You said when I make it, what does that really mean? And what does that look like? And
I think
is it
it's
actually less comfortable?
I think it's different for each person. I think it's different for each person. I don't know what it looks like for me yet. I don't know. I don't necessarily have a very clear picture of that. I say it's that I want it. I think the textbook, like, business advice successory statement would be, you want the business to run without you so you can do whatever you want. But there's a little bit of anxiety in that for me. Like, I don't want to not feel like I belong there. I don't know. That's a whole nother thing. I don't want to be a stranger in my own business.
Yeah.
I don't want to let go of that. I don't know, but I don't know if you have to be to let it run without you. We'll find out. To be determined.
Well, in 5 years from now, we'll do a part 2 on this episode. We'll be like, when we've made it.
Yes.
We'll be like,
You
we've
in,
made
Kelly?
it, and this is how we know.
All right, we're getting the nod. The nod of affirmation. We'll see you guys in 5 years. Okay.
All right. Want to do a 5-star review?
Let's do it. We've got, what's on the list for our 5-star review today, Beth?
I think we had discussed reviewing a neighbor to both of us in Geneva, a little shop called BW Keys.
Ooh, BW Keys.
You been in?
I have. It actually, a good friend of mine and his family run that place. Shout out to Jeremy. And it is so charming.
It is charming.
It is so charming. And I think I went in before you did, Beth. And I thought to myself, Beth has to come in here.
I know.
Beth is going to love this place.
I do love it.
It wasn't that I was thinking, oh, this is like stomping grounds. It was that it was so beautifully, it's so beautifully like curated and intentional.
It's very natural for me to send people there after they come to my store and they
Yes.
say, where should I go next?
You say Marilla's,
I say
Mindful
Marilla's.
Supplies.
I say before you spend all your money,
Yes.
save some for BW Keys, because it's like, I feel like it's sort of like a nice cousin of Stomping Grounds. And
Yes.
so like it has some vintage inspired stuff. It has some very carefully curated gifts. It has a warmth that I find I really respond to.
It has some fantastic tinned fish.
Who
If
doesn't
you're
love
into
a tin
that.
fish? I do.
I do. I really love tinned fish.
It's like, where can I find more tin fish? BW
Yeah.
Keys.
They
Lots of other cute food stuff too. That
Incredible.
you're like, you're going to be surprised. I love a shop that surprises me.
Yes, and they are just crushing it. So go to BW Keys
On Castle Street.
immediately.
Immediately. And then leave them lots of 5-star reviews
On Google.
and Yelp and Facebook and all the places you leave your reviews.
Or write them a love note.
That's nice too.
We chat about the biz, it is the way it is. Thank you for understanding.
We sincerely thank you for understanding. Please visit us at tyfupod.com to learn more about the show, share prompt ideas, or tell us about your own small business experiences. We may include your story in a future episode. Find us on Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube at tyfupod or at tyfupod.com. Our theme music was composed by Marilla Gonzalez. The show is produced by Kelly Walker. Too bad for Kelly Walker.
Y'all right over there?
Did you cause that, Marilla?
That was me. Okay, poor, too bad for Kelly Walker. His headphones just fell off as I was saying
They
that.
flew across the room almost.
Exactly.